We are live now.
Hello, and a very good morning to everyone here. My name is Vaibhav Sharma, and I'd like to welcome you all to another insightful session by LawSikho. Now, the topic, as you all know, that we're gonna cover today is how we can draft a complaint to the police. Now, the importance of drafting a police complaint cannot be overstated. Not only does it give you a strong foundation for your case, and you help the police, investigate the case further. You, as a lawyer, you should know what is supposed to go in a police complaint and what should not go in a police complaint. It gives the police a very strong basis to conduct its investigation. And as you all know, it's also a very important legal document. It serves as evidence later on when it comes to that stage. Now, without further ado, let me please welcome Ms. Birta Bajwa. She's a seasoned advocate with over 12 years of experience practicing across the courts in Bombay. And she's gonna today teach us how to draft a police complaint. So, ma'am, please, I like you invite you to please take over and take us through this.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to be covering up how to draft a police complaint. Now, before we go down to what police complaint is, before that we need to understand the basics that what exactly are the offences, what are the types of offences for which you can approach the police, and how they are bifurcated as per law. Now, earlier we had three laws which we called as the IPC, and one the Indian Penal Code, which has all the offences and their punishment. That is called as the Indian Penal Code. Okay. Now you have something which we call as the CRPC, the Criminal Procedure Code, which gives you the code and the procedure as to how the trial is to be conducted, how the FIRs are to be registered, how complaints are to be filed, how the court has to proceed with the case. That procedure is listed under the CRPC, that is the Criminal Procedure Code. Third, you have the Indian Evidence Act, which gives a bifurcation of what evidence is admissible in court, what way the evidences are to be led in court. That is the procedure which is written under the Indian Evidence Act. So these are the three types of acts which every criminal lawyer needs to know, and every criminal lawyer should keep having handy whenever a criminal trial is to be conducted. Now, whenever we come down to the to the offenses in a criminal trial, okay, so they are classified into two types. One is called as bailable offenses, the other is called as non-bailable offenses. Now, bailable offenses are those offenses in which the accused is not kept into custody and he is immediately released on bail. As per law, as per the Supreme Court guideline, in a bailable offence, you cannot keep a person in custody even for 24 hours. So those offences are called as bailable offences. Non-bailable offences are those offences in which the accused does not get bail so easily. Okay, he will be arrested, he is taken into custody by the police, and for bail he has to approach the court. Okay, and only after a proper hearing he is granted bail by the court. Am I clear till now? Okay. Now coming down to the other kind of offences, you have two types of offences. One you have cognizable offences, the other you have non-cognizable offences. Now, what do you mean by cognizable offences? Cognizable offences are those offences in which a police officer has a right sorry, to arrest you without a warrant. For example, your offences such as murder, your offences such as rape, all these are cognizable offences. So here the police does not need a warrant to arrest you. They can immediately arrest you without any warrant. If they have an inclination that prima facie you have committed that offence, then you have something which we call as non-cognizable offences. Now, non-cognizable offences are those offences in which the police cannot arrest you without a warrant. Okay, nor neither can the police register an FIR for the same. Now you have two types of documents which are registered. When it is a cognizable offence, you have a FIR which we call as a first information report, which is registered by the police. Okay, that whenever an FIR is registered, you can be immediately arrested. Whereas when it comes to non-cognizable offences, you have something which we call as an NC complaint. So you go to the police station, and if the offences are non-cognizable, for example, your offences such as 323, voluntary causing grievous hurt, your offences such as 506, criminal intimidation, part 1, not part 2, part 1. For this offences, the police will only register an NC complaint and keep. Now that NC complaint, if you see, that has only brief description about the offences, wherein the name of the complainant is there, the name of the accused is there, and in brief in 4 lines, the dispute is written. If you want to proceed further on that complaint, on the NC complaint, you want to create a litigation or you want the person to be prosecuted for that offense, you have to go before the magistrate and file a private criminal complaint. Okay, so in non-cognizable offences, the police does not arrest you, it only registers a complaint and keep. In case you want to proceed further, you have to go to the magistrate and file a police and file a criminal complaint. Now there is a classification of these offences. The biggest question everybody will be having is, how do we know which offences are bailable, non-bailable, cognizable, non-cognizable? All these things are there in the Schedule 1 and 2 of the CRPC. So if you see the Schedule 1, whether can you please share that? If you see the Schedule 1 of CRPC, it has the bifurcation of all the offences. It mentions the section, it mentions that what that section means exactly, what is the offence. Then it also has whether the offences are bailable, non-bailable, and triable by which court. Now, what do you mean by triable by which court? There are certain offences which are only triable by magistrates. That means only a magistrate has a power to try those offences. For example, your offences such as 498A, certain offences only a sessions judge has the power to try those offences. For example, your offence under murder 302, attempt to murder under 307, rape 376. All these offences are sessions triable. Only a sessions judge can try the trial of these offences. That's how the bifurcation of the offences is done. That's how, as soon as you see the table, you will come to know that what exactly is the offense, and you will come to know that which court you have to approach. You will know that how it has to be bifurcated. Am I clear till now? Yeah. Can you
Right.
please
I think
share
that
the
covers the classification quite clearly. Thank you.
thank you very much. Okay, now coming down to drafting a police complaint. Now, what exactly is a police complaint? In the event, what happens is that whenever a police, there is a cognizable offense, the police has to register an FIR. Okay, this ratio has been laid down by the Honorable Supreme Court in the judgment of Lalita Kumari. Okay, Lalita Kumari is very clear that the Honorable Supreme Court has clearly held that whenever there are cognizable offences made out, the police has to register an FIR. Now, sometimes in our daily course, you may, even as lawyers, you may encounter a lot of times it happens that whenever we go to the police station, the police does not take down a complaint. They do not so easily register an FIR. They will not so easily register an FIR, and they say कि नहीं आपको चाहिए, no, we are not going to take your complaint. So, what recourse do you have in such a situation? In such a situation, you will file, send a written police complaint to the police station. Now, what exactly is a written police complaint? In the written police complaint, you will mention the names of the accused against whom you want to complain. You will mention that what exactly. You have to give a brief history about what is your transaction with the accused, how you know him, what exactly happened, how this offense came into force. It basically goes like a story. You will start by giving a brief introduction about yourself. Then you start giving a brief introduction about the accused. Who is the accused? How you came to know him? And what was the transaction in between you two? What exactly occurred? For example, if you want to allege and act of assault, say, so if so you will have to mention that on so and so day at so and so time, Mr. So and so, let's say we'll say Mr. XYZ, Mr. XYZ came at so and so place and started assaulting with hands or fist or blows or with sticks. So you will basically have to give a whole background about what the incident was. Now, whenever you draft the police complaint, you levy certain sections. Okay, you will have to also write that you want the police complaint to be registered or FIR to be registered for what offenses against the accused. Now, make it a point, always remember this, that whatever sections you are writing in your police complaint, you have to give a specific incident, you have to give a specific allegation and a role to a particular accused so that he can be prosecuted for that offense. For example, say if I want to say that Mr. XYZ had assaulted me with, he came and he suddenly punched me. If I want to allege assault on him that he had caused for offenses under 323, I will have to say and particular point out that who assaulted me, who gave me a punch, or somebody. If somebody assaulted me with fist, that who was the person who assaulted me with fist. If there was a person who used a dangerous weapon or tried to stab me or stabbed me, if there will be stabbing, of course the FIR will be registered. But for example, got sticks and tried to hit me with the stick, okay, and assault me and hurt me on my head, caused injury to my head or to my body, if I'm alleging that. So you have to give it specific roles to each and every accused. That this is the accused who has done this is the accused. Now coming down to your financial transactions, okay. Now there are certain many times you will encounter that when two people are into business, there are misappropriation of funds, there will be cheating, there will be forgery, there will be forgery of certain documents. So if you are alleging that there was misappropriation of funds, so you have to give a whole detailed description that what were the funds, how those funds were first acquired by the firm, where they were in the bank, which account, how they were misappropriated. For example, if they were misappropriated, say by forging his signatures on the check. So on check number so and so, my signatures were forged, and so amount was withdrawn, by the accused and transferred to which account. So if it is transferred to is another account, and if you are aware, okay, so you have to write to which account it was transferred. So you need to mention all these things. Always remember. Now, if you are alleging forgery, so what kind of forgery are we talking about? It was whether signatures were forged. It is if whether there are certain documents, for example, people forge wills, people forge documents for AFS, agreement for sales. These are forged. So, what kind of document was forged? What was the way it was forged? For example, bogus documents were made, bogus, your forged signatures were made. Whether if you're say, you always remember one thing which I always do as a criminal lawyer is that so that my complaint can hold some substance before the police, I purposely always get a forensic examination prior to sending my complaint to the police. So what I do is, as soon as I get a forensic report, I have an expert opinion which is in my favor. Okay, I have an expert who is putting a stamp on my allegation that this signature is not mine. And I, whenever I draft the police complaint, I always write that we are in receipt of an expert of a forensic report. We have also got it forensically examined, and the forensic report is in my favor, which says that these are not my signatures, and so an FIR needs to be registered. Once you give a description about the allegations of the offences, at the end you have to give a description about all these sections for which you want to prosecute the accused in brief. And in brief, you will always write that what was the offense, what does that section mean, and exactly how much is the punishment. Now, why do we write that? We write the punishment, we write so that it becomes easier for the officer also to understand that what is your case, why you want this section to be levied, and it becomes easier for the officer also to understand that what is the offense you're talking about and how it is, but with how many years it is punishable. Will share a draft of a police complaint online. Yeah, please share that so that you get a brief idea as to how the police complaint is to be drafted. So once you send a police complaint to the police has to register an FIR and act on that complaint, take action. Now, what do? Is they will call you, the complainant, and they say that we have received a complaint. So please come and please record your statement, get all the documents. This procedure is called as conducting a preliminary inquiry by the police. Okay. Now you may have this question a lot of times that what exactly is the difference between a preliminary inquiry? What is a difference between an investigation? Now, what do you mean by inquiry? What do you mean by investigation? Now, preliminary inquiry is when the police calls you to the police station, records your statement, and only inquires with you and checks all the documents. That's it. They will not go on the field. They don't do any kind of investigation. They don't investigate on their own as to what the offences are. They don't record the statements of independent witnesses. They don't conduct panchnamas. They don't seize articles. When they seize articles under a panchnama, when they record statements of independent witnesses, when they investigate on their own, that is called as an investigation. When they are just calling you and recording statement in the police station, that is like, ऊपर से अगर आपसे पूछताछ करते हैं, that is inquiry basically means पूछताछ. आपसे सिर्फ एक पूछताछ कर रहे हैं, so that is called as an inquiry. So the police will call you, conduct a preliminary inquiry with you, record your statement, and if they find any substance, they will register an FIR to that effect. In the event they don't find any substance, then they will give you a report to that effect saying that why they are not registering an FIR. Sometimes, in fact, many a times, 99%, you will see that once you send the police complaint, the police, in fact, does not take any action on it. Okay, the police will always will not take any action on it, and you will be left with no other remedy than knocking at their doors again and again. You will have to again and again go to them and request. And now you see, as Weber has shared on screen, now this is a draft of the police complaint. Let's go up, Weber, at the top. This always goes on the letterhead, preferably on the letterhead of the advocate, because always remember we understand that what are the nuances and we understand that what exactly are the legal repercussions, which a client or a litigant does not understand. Then on the left side, you will see, as if it's going through the lawyer, you will have a on the left side you will have an outward number, and you have to put the date on the date which you are dispatching the notice. Now we write handedly, preferably if the police station is near you, it is better that you get it delivered by hand, because once you give them a copy and you always receive an acknowledgement to that effect, because if you send it by post, they may receive it, they may not receive it. Many a times you will also occur this problem that when you go to deliver them by hand, they refuse to accept it. They say that we will not accept it. So what do you do in such a case? In such a case, you will come out, go to the post office, post it, or you will go to the courier office and courier it if they are refusing to take it by hand. Now, the complaint will always be addressed to the senior inspector of police of that so-called police station. Now, it's Maharashtra. We use the senior PR, the senior inspector of police. At North and Delhi and all, you have the SHO. you always write to the SHO so and so police station. Okay, and here this police complaint was sent to two police stations that we have mentioned about two senior, and then you will reference, you will write that against whom you want the complaint to be registered. So you will write the name of the accused and his whole address, preferably his phone number also if you have it. Okay, and in case there are more than one, you will one by one write the names of all the accused. Please go down to sir, and then you will start. Always remember, as a lawyer, I am concerned on behalf of my client, Mr. So and so, age so and so, residing at so, and on his instructions, we have to address you as under. As a lawyer, we always act on instructions. We never take anything on. Always remember that we will never personally identify ourselves with the client. As lawyers, we will always we will act on instructions of the client. So that is that this line is very important, that this complaint is being sent to you as per the instructions what we have received from our client. Let's go down to paragraph number one. Now if you go down to the paragraph number one, that we will, as I said, you give a brief background as to who is the complainant, who is the accused, how you came in contact with the accused. So I have given a brief background as to, you know, how my client came in contact with the accused, why, what was the business which they wanted to conduct, and who is the accused. He's the owner of some land where business of stone crushing is conducted. So I've given a brief description. Then we come down to paragraph number two. What were the events which occurred after they met? After they met, they entered into a partnership deed with each other. So you mentioned the details. You will have to give a detail of the partnership deed. Okay, that what was the partnership deed? What was their shareholding? Who was the holder of 70%? Who was the holder of 30%? And where was the registered office? All these things that you will have to mention. Let's go down. Okay, then you will give a background that when the business, when it started, how it started, what role was attributed in the business to whom. Okay, the complainant, what was the complainant doing, what was the accused doing, what was his role in the company, what work he used to do. You need to have to mention each and everything. Please, let's go down. Then you will start with your dispute, that what exact, how the dispute escalated, what exactly was the dispute between the complainant and the accused, why this whole dispute has started. Okay, so we will allege that there was allegation. Now here the accused was like, started sending, there was misappropriation of funds. There were in fact forgery of certain bills of accounts. There was some overwriting. So I've mentioned all those things. Let's go on. So there were some registers which were forgery was conducted. Now let's stop over here. If you will see that there were serious alterations and additions in the registers which were made by the accused. And how were the alterations? For example, say there was 1, 2, and 3 syllable 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, and 3, 2 and 3K. Beach mein there was one entry which showed that there were some additions. Okay, there were some cuttings, there were some alterations. So these all came to the notice of my client, and that's how he came to know that after obtaining his signatures on the register, some alterations were done in the register, some additions were done. Okay, so they used to forge. That means they have forged those entries without the knowledge, without the consent of the complainant. So that's how you will make your case, and you will write. Let's go down. Okay. Then how the dispute started, and what exactly. Now, if you come down to para number seven, so there was an incident which occurred in December 2000, wherein the accused apparently forcefully entered the premises. So he used to abuse, create a scene, abuse, threaten the staff, and all those things. So all these allegations, let's go down now to the end. So you will have to mention about all these allegations and exactly what offences the accused have committed. Okay, and then there were some articles were also stolen from the said place. Some documents were stolen. So we have mentioned that these documents were stolen and these articles have been stolen. Locks were broken open of the rooms where certain documents of the carry were there. Let's go down. Whether why they were done so as to because they could not be caught, or they could conduct a forgery of certain documents. Then you see that he has committed a fraud by taking an amount of so and so. A person had also conducted. So we have basically, as you can see, I have attributed a particular role to each and every accuser. If Mr. XYZ has done this, so Mr. ABC has done this, Mr. 123 has done this. So this is by specific roles have to be attributed to each and every accused. Let's go down. Let's go down to the end now. Up, go up, before the section starts. That's it. Now, okay, then at the end you will end it with that this is enough, and then the strict action needs to be taken against them, and the whether if your client has a fear or what kind of fear. And if you look at paragraph number 13, that in connivance with each other have committed the offences. What offences? Now, as I said, that if you are letting these sections, you need to write these sections and what sections, what offences they have committed. So these are so they have, and the punishment for the offense such sections is reproduced for your ready reference. Now, why do we do this? It becomes easier because if you only write the sections and send it to the police officer, let me be very frank with you, they will not take the pains of opening the barrack. They will not take the pains of understanding, oh, that exactly how is this applicable. So it's better you give them as a ready reckoner that what exactly is the offences sections which have been committed and how their sections are applicable, so that it becomes easier for the officer also to understand that what exactly is the offence. Now, when I'm alleging section 379, which is theft, so what kind of theft? Theft of the books of accounts, articles, such an important document, and how it is punishable with term which may extend to 3 years of fine. Now I come down to 381. Let's go down to the theft by clerk or servant. Now he was employee who had conducted okay, of property in possession of master. So how create that is why 381 is applicable, which may extend to 7 years and also fine. 420 cheating, when you're saying that there has been cheating conducted. So how cheating and how much cheating has been punishable. 447 when you're saying criminal trespass. So how criminal trespass and what is the punishment? 461 dishonestly breaking with respectable containing property. So all those sections, whichever I have mentioned above, I have given a brief description. Let's go down there. And at the end of this, see when I'm alleging forgery, so I've even written that what for sections of forgery, relevant sections of forgery is also been alleged. Let's go down to the end. Last paragraph. Okay. That the registered office. Now if I want the why I'm sending it to this police station, so we always have something which we call as jurisdiction. What exactly is a jurisdiction? Jurisdiction is that the area or the cause of action or the offense has committed within the jurisdiction of that police station. We need to always mention and inform the police station that why that police station has the right to conduct the investigation, why that police station can take this complaint and conduct an inquiry. So if I'm say I'm alleging say on a piece of like here there was a query, so the query falls under actually Nagovne police station. So you have to write, the offence, the cause of action has arisen and the offences have been committed on at so and so place, which falls within the jurisdiction of the police station. Therefore, you're required to kindly take immediate action in the same. Kindly direct your subordinate to register the FIR at the earliest and proceed against the opposite persons in accordance with law. My client shall extend their full cooperation for any further investigations that may be conducted in the matter. Now, below, you will always sign it and make it a point that read over and as per my instructions, you will always take the signature of the client on the police complaint. Do not you yourself don't sign it and send it. Always remember that take the signature of the officer or of the client always on the police complaint. Now, once you send this police complaint, you have to follow up with the police station. You can close this. You have to follow up with the police station that they need to take any action and they need to register an FIR. And even they refuse to register an FIR, what is the remedy which is left with you? Now you have the Honorable Magistrate has powers under Section 156, subsection 3, okay, to direct the police to register an FIR. So what you would do in such a case is you will file a private complaint before the magistrate, go before the magistrate and seek directions, seek relief under section 156(3) of CRPC, where you will explain to the magistrate this is the offences which have been committed. I have approached the police, I have sent the police complaint, but they are refusing to take my complaint. So I am left with no other remedy to approach this honorable court to for seeking relief. Now, the magistrate, after going through the complaint, if he is satisfied that yes, there is prima facie a case made out, he will direct the police station to register a FIR against the accused. Now, those FIRs which are registered at the directions of the magistrate, you will always see FIRs, some FIRs which will have names, numbers as MECR, which means Magistrate Inquiry Crime Report. So if you come across an FIR wherein at the top, when you have the FIR number, instead of the FIR number, it is written as MECR number. That means this FIR has been registered at the instructions of the magistrate. Okay. So this sums up. This is how you draft your police complaint. This is what how you classify all the offences, and this is the procedure how to draft and send the police complaint. Any doubts, Weber? Any queries?
Right. Thank you for taking us through this. So I'm sure a lot of us must have a lot of questions. So just to so we have the new laws coming in force soon. So with the new laws coming in force, we see that the complaint can be filed by electronic means. So does
Yes,
that mean I can file it by email,
that's
or there's
correct.
an online portal where I can do it?
That you have an online portal. If you come down,
Mhm.
if you open the site website of the police, you will always see that you can also register a complaint online. So if you go down to the portal of the police, you have something which we call as online complaint. So you can register a complaint online. Earlier, what we used to do is we had to physically give complaints to the police station. Of course, we could register complaints online before also, but those were not so serious offenses, and those are very brief and small offenses for which you could register. Like, you don't want to go to the police station. But now, because of the new law, those online complaints also are being investigated and are going to be taken in. So that electronic means that you can register the complaint online. You can also send it through emails. You can also send it through email. So that would also be accepted.
Right. Right. Thank you. Uh, Also, you also mentioned certain categories of police officers, such as senior inspector and SHO. Can you please talk about the classification and the hierarchy of these
See,
police
the
officers?
hierarchy goes as then you have the commissioner of police, you have the DCP, you have the ACP, then you have DC. Now, in a police station, the highest ranking officer will always be the senior PI. In a police station, I'm talking about, okay, he'll be the senior PI. He's the senior police inspector. Then you have some APIs, which we call as assistant police inspectors, which are below him. Then you have sub inspectors. Then you have PIs, which we call as police inspectors. Then you have a head constable, and then you have uh, other constables. Okay, you will have an HC, which will be a head constable, and then you will have
Mhm.
constables. So that is how the hierarchy goes. Now, why this hierarchy is basically there are certain offences for which only certain officer can only investigate. Now, for example, when we come down to NDPS, the ANC. So under the NDPS Act, only a senior police inspector, a senior PI, has the power to register
Right.
an offence under the NDPS Act.
Okay.
So the officer below his rank cannot register. That is the reason. So you have this hierarchy.
Uh, okay. And another question I think a lot of people would have is, should I register an FIR if I'm a witness? How will I get involved if I am witnessing a crime and I decide to file a complaint?
Yes, if you are a witness and if the person who's aggrieved doesn't go, of course, see, for example, if you are standing and if you see a murder happening, of course, you have the authority. You can go to the police station. You can get an FIR register. You can become a complainant. That is not an issue because you are a
Right.
witness to that crime and you can become a complainant and you will register an FIR. Nothing debars you from it. Now that depends whether India, because nobody wants to get into. Everybody has this view that police के झंझट में कौन पड़ेगा. So that's why nobody goes. They are
that's
witness बन जाएंगे, लेकिन भैया हमको complainant ना, because the complainant then has to again and go to the police station, get his statements recorded again and again, go for identification of the accused for the TI, for a test identification. When the accused are arrested, their identification they have to go to the, and at every stage, for the panchnamas also, the recovery also, the complainant has to cooperate again and again with the police. That is the reason people, who are not connected with the crime are a
mm.
little apprehensive of becoming complainant anymore.
So I think that's why we need a little more transparency to understand the involvement. Um, Also, we also spoke of some essential ingredients of a police complaint. So, what about mentioning legal provisions? So,
That's
like you
exactly what I
said,
said. Hmm. That's I showed it to you.
like
See, then whatever provisions you're mentioning, you need to give and bifurcate and attribute each and every role to the accused as per the section. For example, if you're alleging forgery, so you have to give a description of what was the forgery conducted, what way it was conducted, which is the accused who has conducted that forgery, and as per that section, how why that section is applicable. So that is the reason if you see the draft, I have mentioned all the sections and I have also given a brief description about all those sections.
right, right. And lastly, we also spoke of how if the police refuses to register my complaint, register an FIR, my option, my recourse is to approach the magistrate. If the police refuses to register,
That's right. That's
I
right.
can
For
file a
that,
complaint before them.
you can go for the magistrate in a private complaint, and you can seek orders under section 156(3) from the magistrate, explaining to the magistrate the prima facie how the case is made and why direction needs to be given. And but always remember for that too, you have to, as I said, Lalita Kumari is very clear that whenever cognizable offences are made out, police has to register an offence. Lalita Kumari also mentions that in the event the police officer refuses to register an FIR, you have the power to go before the, you have the right to go before the magistrate in a private complaint and seek orders under 156(3). But the precondition for that has to be that you did approach the police, you did send a police complaint, you did try to get an FIR
Okay.
registered, but the police is refusing and not registering an FIR. That is why you're seeking the orders under 156(3).
So you need that due diligence from your
Yeah,
end.
that
You
is a
need to make that.
prerequisite. That is a
Okay,
prerequisite.
from
You have to do that.
you have to do that. Great, great. Um, okay, I don't see any questions from the viewers here. All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking this very insightful session. We learned quite a few things today, a lot of new things, I think, I hope. We learned, first of all, the classification of the complaints, what are cognizable offenses, non-cognizable offenses, I bailable and non-bailable offenses. I think, first of all, having that understanding before we go towards filing a police complaint is very essential. And
Very
you
true.
also taught us how to draft a police complaint, what are some essential ingredients, what should we keep in mind, not only as a citizen, but also as a lawyer. So, thank you very much. Thank you for this session. We hope
Thank you.
this everyone here learned something new. Everyone learned how to draft a police complaint. We'll have more of such sessions in the future, and we hope that you join us and learn something with us. Thank you, ma'am. And with
Thank
that, I
you.
will end this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.